So, by the time you finish watching this video, you'll only be left wishing that your dash camera, if only it could do what the N4 Pro can do. You don't believe me? Take a look. So here's the first snapshot I want you guys to take a look at. Do note that this is during overcast conditions, which means the sky wasn't clear and the sunlight wasn't as bright as it would have been at any other point of time. So in overcast conditions at a car that's about a distance of 40 to 50 feet away, I think that's a Hyundai Venue right in front, do you think this camera will be able to read the number plate at such high distance? Let's take a look. This is good. This is very good. Do you even notice any sort of a noise in this image? Absolutely none. So zooming in at a distance of 40 to 50 feet away, this camera can read number plates easily. This camera is doing which probably no other camera is capable of. But since this dashcam has a Starvis 2 sensor, the true capability of this camera can only be seen during night time. So here's a snapshot during night, and as you can see, there is a police checkpost right in front of me. You can see those barricades there, and there was probably a Hyundai i10 right in front of me, and the distance is even greater than the previous example which I showed you. Now the distance is increased about 50 to 60 feet away during night time and under the glare of my headlights. So what this camera can do in these conditions, is it powerful enough, is it capable enough to read number plate at such a high distance, and especially when the number plates are under the direct glare of my headlights? Let's zoom in and take a look. This is absolutely breathtaking. At first instance you might say, hey, this is blurred, but if you take a closer look, if you understand the context of this image, this car is at a 60 feet away distance, and this is at night. Especially the number plate of the car is under the glare of my headlight, my high beam. Even in this condition, the camera is able to get a good snap of the number plate. I mean, you can read each letter and number individually without any haziness. And if I'm not mistaken, the number plate reads KA13MA0649. I would be lying if I say if I cannot read this number plate. Even you guys can read this if you take a closer look. This is the power of Starvis 2. This is the power of 4K resolution combined with the Starvis 2 sensor. This is the kind of performance I expect from a dashcam, and it's really standing up to its expectations and doing even better. Now just to verify the numbers and the letters which I just read from the number plate, here's a sample of the same car at a slightly closer range at the police checkpost, where luckily I wasn't stopped. Now again notice that the car is under the direct glare of my headlights, especially the number plate is completely covered in glare, and if you zoom in on that number plate, the clearest possible image of the number plate even under the glare of my headlights pops up right in your eye. I mean, can it get any better than this? And the numbers and the letters of the plate are exactly what I just read from the far off image. So if you are looking for a dash cam that can give you the best possible quality, this is the one you are looking for. This camera is pure excellence. I mean, what more can you ask for? The Vantrue N4 Pro represents what dash cameras can do when taken to their highest limits. It's got the Sony Starvis 2 IMX678 sensor combined with a 4K resolution. It supports recording in only one channel, dual or all the 3 channels. The interior and the rear camera records in a 1080p resolution, making this perfect for family trips. This camera supports OTA upgrades and also gets 5 GHz Wi-Fi and a built-in GPS. It's got a dedicated app, a Vantrue app for your PC. So similar to what I showed in one of my previous videos, this camera too gets a super cool app. You can just load the videos, watch the entire videos, see the exact location of your car, and also monitor the vibrations of the G sensor, along with providing you a live speedometer which corresponds to the video which is playing on top. So this sort of a data being shown to you directly on the screen is basically what we need the dashcam for, the direct straight up evidence which is going to help us in insurance claims and in legal cases. It's got 4 different parking modes such as low bitrate recording, buffered motion detection, collision detection, and time-lapse mode. It's got voice control with 12 different voice commands, so you can control the dashcam easily while driving without having to take your hands off the steering wheel. This camera also gets a CPL filter. It's optional, but you can purchase it separately via the dealership. This camera also gets a 18-month warranty compared to the standard 12-month which most other manufacturers provide for the dash cameras. These are only a few of the many other important features the Vantrue N4 Pro has. And no matter what, if you already bought a dashcam or you're planning on getting one, I want you to watch this video and take a look at one of the finest dash cameras that's available in the market. You're watching Travel Tech. Let's take a look. Alright, so here is the dashcam which you all and even I have been waiting to take a look at, the Vantrue Nexus 4 Pro, shortly called as the Vantrue N4 Pro dashcam. So first of all, this camera has a 4K HDR front resolution along with a 1080p cabin camera and a 1080p rear camera. So this is a triple channel setup, and the most important part, this contains the Sony Starvis 2 sensor and it supports HDR with a wide viewing angle. It has a 3-inch IPS LCD screen. It's got voice control, 5 GHz Wi-Fi for fastest file transfers and app control as well. It's got built-in GPS logger, it's got buffered motion detection and collision detection. It's got low bitrate parking mode, adjustable parking monitoring zone, magnetic assist mount. It has a super capacitor, not a battery, and a extreme temperature protection along with a CPL filter which is optional. So they're given a picture of the dashcam here along with the display, and here is the interior camera along with the app setup and the live view which it is showing on the app. So on the other side of the box you get the QR code to download the respective apps from either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. So let's quickly open up the box and show you what are the contents inside. So as soon as you open up the box, you get this wiring diagram which shows you the correct way of wiring and powering up the camera and shows you which way you should not follow. Let's keep this on the side. Now this dashcam is big, pretty big, and this must be the biggest dashcam I've held in my hand, almost the size of the palm of my hand. The lens module too is a large circular shape module. Right at front you have this Vantrue branding at the front of the camera. At the back you have the display which is currently closed off with a sticker. You have the interior camera right here. So on the bottom you find this mic slot and various other controlling button functions. You have this IR slot here and along with that some ventilation holes. So the interior camera is rotatable. As you can see, this rotates to about 90 degrees I think. So this will be helpful in adjusting the proper angle for the camera. On one side you have this N4 Pro logo and on the other side you have this power button and I think is an emergency record button bundled into one. Also guys, there is a micro SD card slot for this dashcam which is very neatly enclosed within the module of the dashcam. All you have to do is rotate the area around the power button and pull out the lid of the micro SD card cover. So as you can see, this is the micro SD card slot along with the reset button and the emergency record and the power on off button. Emergency record button cleverly conceals this. So in order to put this back, just stick it around and turn the lid a bit and you're basically done. The front camera module by itself is not rotatable. You can rotate the entire dashcam module though. Both the interior and the front camera module can be rotated to adjust to your requirements. And you have this slot right here wherein the windshield mount goes in. Alright, so here is the rear camera, a very standard looking rear camera with a Vantrue branding right on top. You have this windshield mount with a 3M sticker. The rear camera is rotatable 360 degrees and on one side it has got this Type C port. Pretty interesting. I haven't seen any Type C port on the rear cameras. It says 2 megapixel CMOS sensor as well. So this is the windshield mount, a very unique looking, interesting looking kind of a mount. I haven't seen this type of windshield mount in any other dash camera. It has this 5 plated pins here which plug in into the main front camera module. Yes, this is a magnetic mount and the mount is holding the dashcam firmly well as soon as you bring it close to it. So if we press on the module like this, it fits into place and the module is now perfectly fitted into the dashcam and it's not going to move about. So you can move about the dash camera as this is a ball joint given here. So you can move this even left or right and the front and the back, but to a certain limited extent. So on top here is the windshield mount with a large 3M sticker. I think this dashcam is going to need a large surface area because this feels pretty heavy and sturdy compared to every other dashcam which I've tested till date. Alright, you get 2 additional 3M stickers, one for the front dashcam and one for the rear dashcam. You get this wiring crowbar or wiring installation tool. You even get the Vantrue branding on top of it. And here is the main power cable with the pre-attached 12 volt adapter for cars. Now you can't remove this as this is pre-attached. You also get a USB port built in for your additional accessories if you want to power them up. You have this 12 volt car charger adapter, and on the other side you get a Type-C port to power up the dashcam. Moving on further into the box, you get this small cable with Type-C port at one end and a USB Type-A port at the other end. Following that, you get this rear camera cable with Type-C ports at both ends. The wire is pretty thick and heavy compared to most other rear camera cables which I have seen till date. So following this, you also get a quick user guide for the N4 Pro. So all the details and the complete information regarding its installation, app setup and the usage, everything is given here. You can take a look at this if you are interested. Also in the box you do find some cleaning cloth, soft cloth. You also get these two packets, which is basically an adhesion promoter, and on the back they have given the instructions on how you can use these two packets. Following that, you get two electrostatic stickers, one for the front and one for the rear camera. So lastly, you get these two stickers which you can stick on the windshield of your car, and it says protected by Vantrue Dashcams. So anyone who is driving behind you will know that you will have a dash camera installed. Alright, so these are all the things which you get inside the box: a sticker, the rear camera, two extra 3M tapes, a wiring installation tool, the front camera with the interior camera module along with its windshield mount. You get a pre-attached 12 volt car charger with a Type-C port. You get this rear camera dual Type-C port. You get two primer packets. You get this quick user guide, a soft cloth and two electrostatic stickers. So the build quality of this camera feels very good, very sturdy, and you get the feeling that you're holding one of the most premium dash cams in the segment. So as you saw, as soon as we opened up the box, they had given out an information sheet. So this is what it was. So that indicated you should not get confused with the two Type-C ports. They've specifically given the logo here that this port, Type-C port, is for the rear camera connection, and the main Type-C power port goes into the windshield mount. So you should not get confused and interchange the Type-C cables, and that will lead to camera not functioning properly. Talking about the rear camera, this too feels a bit sturdier in hand, and very interesting thing that I found is that this is a Type-C port dash cam. The windshield mount also looks well attached, and you also get a LED notification at the back of the camera. Also a few other important points to note, guys, that this windshield mount doubles up also as the GPS receiver, and of course you can easily remove it anytime you want. Just gently pull it out of the main dashcam module and it comes out pretty easily. Putting it back is also a breeze. Additionally, guys, you can also take this data transfer cable which is available in the box, and you can plug it here at the rear camera port, and the USB Type-A you can plug it into your PC and your laptop and transfer the recorded files directly from the dashcam to your PC or laptop. You don't need an app interface. Alternatively, you can also remove the SD card and use a card reader to transfer the files to your PC or your laptop. Also, there are 4 infrared lights present right next to the interior camera, so this will give you a infrared vision at night, which is most needed when recording the inside of the cabin during night time. So both the front and the rear cameras giving out a premium feel, but how premium is the video quality and does it live up to its expectations? Let's move on and take a look. So here's the video sample from all 3 cameras. On top you can see the front camera. At the lower left bottom is the interior or the cabin camera, and on the lower right bottom you have the rear camera. I've put out all the specifications for each cameras. Now do note that the interior camera and the rear camera have more or less the similar specification, but the top camera, that is the front camera, has a higher spec because it's a 4K camera. Now taking a first look at this image, I can clearly say that this video quality is perfectly balanced in terms of exposure, in terms of contrast, saturation and the sharpness levels. It's close to perfect, it's near perfect. Specifically talking about the front camera, the cabin camera and the rear camera do tend to provide a similar experience and also a very good angle of view, so that it covers more or less the entire area surrounding the car. Do note that even in the cabin camera you can more or less cover the windows from both the driver side and the passenger side as well. Moving on to the night sample from the same camera, again as you can see, the interior camera, should I say the cabin camera, shifts to infrared imaging as soon as it's night if you have set the auto for the infrared LEDs. Now inside the cabin it's completely dark, hence it's important that the interior camera goes into the night mode. So the front camera experience is excellent. The rear camera is also providing a decent view, and the interior camera is able to cover up the entire cabin, covering almost the entire width of the car. Now all three cameras are performing right up to my expectation, and specifically the front camera is doing an excellent job of giving you that crisp 4K resolution with HDR. The overall video quality in both day and night time is worthy of its price, and I think this camera is really excellent and is doing a very good job at what it is designed for. This is a camera which you should not definitely miss for your car. So this camera takes close to 400 to 500 MB per minute of space if you record in all three channels with the front 4K resolution. But the good thing is that this camera supports a 512 GB memory card that should give you enough length to record a longer duration of time. Now let's take a quick look at the easy installation of this dashcam along with the app connection and the detailed app settings which you probably haven't seen anywhere else. Let's take a look. So before you install the dashcam, make sure you remove the sticker that's covering the front lens of the camera. Following that, you have to insert a compatible micro SD card into the SD card slot. Take the card, just insert it, and until you hear a clicking sound, then close the lid to seal off the SD card within the camera. Then peel off the sticker that's covering the windshield mount of the camera, and once it's peeled off, head to the location where you want to install the camera and press on the windshield mount gently so that it adheres firmly. Then insert the Type-C power cable into the dash cam. Following that, take the 12-volt car adapter and insert it into the 12-volt socket. Following that, take the rear camera and peel off its windshield mount sticker. Then stick the rear camera onto the designated area where you want the camera to be mounted. Then take the Type-C power cable for the rear camera and insert it into it. Take the other end of the Type-C power cable and insert into the rear camera slot of the main dash camera. Make sure you are inserting it in the correct slot. Following that, turn on the camera, and as soon as the camera turns on, the display comes up and you have to follow some set of instructions. You have to do some initial setups such as setting the time, setting the date, setting the frequency, speed units, Wi-Fi, and of course you have to format the SD card when you use the dashcam for the first time. The dashcam will show up the display that it's recording. You will get the front camera and the cabin camera display, and now camera is ready to use. Install the Vantrue app on your Android smartphone via the Play Store. Open up the app, follow the initial instructions. The initial setup is very easy and you will be able to do this within a matter of few minutes. And as soon as the camera is connected to the Wi-Fi network, it will show up the live display. So here's the live view on the app. So as you can see, it is currently streaming the interior camera view, the rear camera view, and the front camera view. You have a lot of options here: the pause recording, the snapshot, the switch camera button, mic option, and the album or the gallery option. But before we head into all of these, let's quickly head into the settings and show you what are the kind of options which you get to play around with the Nexus 4. So as soon as we enter into the settings, the first option which you get is the sync phone time, a very important option for the proper working of the camera. Following this, you have the resolution option. If we head into this, you have the front, cabin plus rear options, that is the triple camera. You have the front and the cabin only option. You have the front and the rear option, and you have only the front option. So you can select which camera combinations you want the dash cam to record. So in this case, I've selected the triple channel combo. And if we head into that, you get a variety of options in order to select the kind of resolution you want each camera to record into. Do note that the frame rate remains the same at 30 fps, but only the resolution you can change about, starting with the most highest, that is a 4K for the front and the 1080p for both interior and the rear camera. You get 720p for both. You get 1440p for the front camera, 1440 and 720 combination. You get a full HD for all three cameras, 1080, 1080, 1080, and you also get a 720p for all three cameras. So in order to save space, you can also select this last option, and this is going to save you a lot of space on your memory card. Just in case you want to take a look at the front and the cabin option, so you get the similar kind of options here, again static at 30 fps but a varied resolution levels. So this is a very wide variety of options which you're getting as an end user, and this is really impressive. Moving on to the loop recording, you get loop recordings up to 1 minute for a minimum and up to 5 minutes as a maximum, with a middle variant of 3 minutes. You can also turn off the loop recording feature. Heading back, you have the infrared LEDs which you can set to turn off, set to turn on, or you can set it to be automatically turned on. Heading into the G sensor, you've got three options: front and rear, left and right, and up and down. So you have various sensitivity levels starting from a lowest of 1 to the highest of 5, and of course you can also turn it off if you don't want the G sensor to be activated. Then you have the privacy mode. Following that, you have the audio noise reduction. You can enable or disable it. Following that, you have the exposure options. You can set exposure for the individual cameras, front, cabin and rear. Currently it is set at 0. You can take it to a maximum of +2. You can take it to a minimum of -2. So you can set this for individual cameras. Following that, you have the recording status light. You can enable or disable it. Then you have the HDR option, in which you can set the HDR for individual cameras, front, cabin and rear. You can turn on or turn off based on your requirement. Then you have the rotate display option. You can rotate the front and the cabin display, and of course you can rotate the rear display as well. Then you have the mirror option. You can mirror the cabin camera and you can mirror the rear camera if in case you have installed it incorrectly. Then you have the number plate option. You can write in your car's number plate, which is probably going to be displayed on the recorded video. Then you have the stamp option, wherein you get individual options to turn on or turn off the different stamps, such as the date and time stamp, brand and model stamp, number stamp, speed stamp and GPS location stamp. Individually you can change the visibility of these stamps. Following that, you have the time lapse option, starting from a minimum of 1 fps up to a 15 fps. Of course you can turn it off as well. Then you have the parking mode option, in which you have the collision detection, motion detection, low bitrate mode and low frame rate mode. So if you enable the collision detection, again you get the sensitivity of the G sensor. Individually you can set the sensitivity to be the least or to be the highest at 5. If you enable motion detection, you can set the motion detection to be at low, medium or high. Of course you also have the low bitrate mode, wherein you can select the 1080p 15 fps and a 720p 15 fps option. If you select the low frame rate mode, you can record to a minimum of 1 fps up to a 15 fps recording. Then you have the low light night vision parking mode, which you can enable and disable. Then you have the collision detection in parking mode. If you click on that, you have two options: power saving mode and quick start mode. Then you have the mileage statistics to be displayed, which you can enable and disable, GPS switch. Then you have the speed unit, kilometers or miles. Following that, you have the time format. Let's set it to the 12-hour time format. Then you have the Wi-Fi password option, which is recommended that you change it once you connect the dashcam for the first time. Then you have the voice control options, and if you head into that, you have the sensitivity of the voice control. You can turn it off completely. You can set it to low, standard or even high. Following that, you have the voice content. If you head into that, so these are all the options given for the voice control. So basically you get about 13 voice commands from which you can easily control the dash camera without having to lift your finger. So this is also a very versatile and a good thing for the end user. Following that, you have the format SD card option. Then you have the format reminder setup. Then you have the auto LCD off, which means basically you can make the display turn off after 30 seconds or 1 minute or up to 3 minutes. Or if you want the dashcam display to be on all the time, you can turn off the auto LCD off option. Then you have the LCD brightness option. You can set it to high, medium or low. So currently let's set it at auto. Then you have the device sound option. You can set the volume to a minimum of 1 up to a maximum of 5. Then you have the warning tone option. So you have individual warning tones which you can enable or disable, such as the power on sound or the key sound, the file locked sound, the format reminder sound and the abnormal stop recording reminder. Then you can set the frequency to 50 Hz or 60 Hz. Following that, you have the system info, wherein it gives you the model number, the software of the front and the cabin and the rear camera. Then in the end, you have the default settings option, and if you select the check mark here, it will reset the camera back to its original default factory settings. So this must be the most exhaustive and in detailed review video of the Vantrue N4 Pro dashcam, and I'm pretty sure you like the dashcam already. And in case if you do, and if you want to purchase the dashcam, the link to purchase it is given in the description below. Just make sure if you are in India, you need to purchase it by the seller Vantrue IND. That's the only authorized seller for Vantrue in India. Also, if you have any doubts or queries regarding this camera, you can always write that down in the comments and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So now, after watching this video, I hope you have a better idea of what the peak performance of a dash camera is and what you should be expecting from the next dashcam purchase. And in case if you like this video, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you get notified each time I upload a new video. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Insta and the WhatsApp page. The links to those are given in the description below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.